I hope you can hear that crunch. Hi everyone, my name is Rosa and this is The Divine Chef, and on this channel we make plant-based food that you and your family will enjoy. So today we're going to make some crispy tofu nuggets. I wanted to make this to show you how to make a simple, kind of like a replacement for chicken, and a lot of my friends are trying to turn but actually become more plant-based, incorporate more healthy stuff into their lifestyle. So this is a really good kind of beginner recipe that you can bake. You can add all kinds of sauces and it's very versatile. So what you're going to need first is a block of tofu. So in order to get that crispy texture, that meaty feel with the tofu, you need to freeze it overnight and then take it out and unthaw it. Generally, I just leave like a block or two of tofu in my freezer and get the firm tofu or extra firm tofu, leave it in your freezer. Then whenever you're ready to make the dish, you'll always have it on hand, okay? So let me show you what the tofu looks like, okay? All right, so I already took half of the block of tofu and I shredded, broke it up a little bit. And so this is how it's gonna look when it comes out of the freezer and after it's unthawed. And you wanna take it and you want to squeeze all the juice out of it. See that? All that liquid is in there. So make sure you give it a really good squeeze, a gentle squeeze without breaking it up too much, because you're gonna break it up into the chunk sizes that you like, okay? So that should be good, but it releases a lot of liquid. And I've seen where you can also freeze it, open the package up and freeze it, pour out the liquid and then freeze it, but I just do it this way. It's easier just throwing it in the freezer and then it'll stay in the freezer being more fresh longer instead of opening the package. So just take your tofu, and I've already broken up some pieces in here. You want to kind of like just do it kind of rugged so that all those little craters will see the little craters in there will taste more like feel like more like chicken or meat in your mouth, okay? Not that we're trying to, replicate meat, I guess, per se, because it's not necessary in a plant-based diet. However, when you're first starting out, you kind of want something that's going to help you stay on track. So this is just a really good recipe to do that. See? So nice chunks in there. After you've gotten all the liquid out of your tofu and you've broken up to the bite-sized pieces that you like, I like to make my seasoning in a bowl, incorporating it together really well so that you're not just putting salt over it and it's not getting every nugget of that tofu piece, okay? So what I'm gonna do is get a bowl and then we're gonna mix our seasonings together. We're gonna do 1 heaping teaspoon of onion powder, 1 heaping teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 heaping teaspoon of thyme, 1 heaping teaspoon of smoked paprika, a half a teaspoon of cumin powder, a half a teaspoon of salt. I like to use pink Himalayan salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. I just happen to have white pepper on hand. So you can use this seasoning on anything. It's kind of a base seasoning because your onion powder, your garlic powder, and all the little spices in there is really helpful. So anything that you're trying to like get that good deep flavoring, richness in there, use this seasoning, or you can just use salt and pepper. It's totally up to you. But okay, so now we're going to take these seasonings and we're going to put it on our tofu. Okay, so now we're going to just put the seasoning all over the tofu. And the good thing about tofu and it's not being real meat, that you don't have to worry about any cross-contamination. You can even go into the seasoning and use your hands and season your tofu. Make sure you get every piece of your tofu seasoned, because in each bite you want it to just taste delicious. And since I didn't use a whole block of tofu, because I used like a 1/4 of the tofu earlier because I made some scrambled eggs, which you'll see in another video, or not scrambled eggs, scrambled tofu. Yeah, so I didn't have to use all the seasoning, but I can. But normally you'll use a whole block of tofu and use all of the seasonings. Okay, so in order to get the best flavor into your tofu, let it sit for like 15 minutes at least. You don't have to, but I like to let it sit a little bit so it can marinate like you would do any other type of meat per se, all right? So we're gonna let that sit, and then I'll show you the next step in a second. Okay, so now that your tofu has marinated, we're going to add a little bit of cornstarch on the tofu. Now I don't measure it, maybe about 2 to 3 tablespoons. I just go ahead and sprinkle it and kind of flip it around so that it can get fully coated. Then after that, we're going to put a little bit of oil on it, and I personally like to put it in a bowl like this and put my lid on it so that I can shake it easily, okay? Instead of trying to put your hands in it and get a little messy. This will keep it nice and clean. So if you don't have that, you can also use a baggie, a plastic baggie or a paper bag, okay? So now we're gonna add a little bit of oil, and we're gonna use that lid to get it nice and coated. About 2 tablespoons of oil. This part makes it easier and cleaner, so you don't have a mess all over your counter. And you can even put the cornstarch in there at the same time with the oil. I just like to do it a little separate so that the cornstarch can actually adhere to that tofu. So now we're going to just go ahead and put the tofu on a lined baking sheet. I use parchment paper, or you can use a silken pad. Make sure you evenly distribute it. Now you can make it the tofu chunks as big or as small as you like, but I like those little itty bitty crunchy pieces because they come out nice and crisp, and you can just snack on those while the rest are getting done. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and put these in the air fryer. And go ahead and set it at your regular air fryer setting that has chicken on it. I hope you can hear that crunch. It's really delicious. And with the seasoning, you can add as much as little as you like. That's just what I like to do. You can add a little more salt if you need to. At the end, I put a little bit of sprinkle of salt on top just to up that flavor some. You can also use these with some dipping sauces like barbecue sauce, our Korean style dipping sauce that we have as well. It should be on one of our old videos. And anything you like, guys. But either way, they taste delicious. It's a good way if you're going plant-based and trying to stay away from eating meat. Kids love these as well, and they won't even be able to tell the difference, okay? So with that, I'm Rosa, and I'll see you on our next video. Peace out.